1950s was an emerging community with its favorable weather, rolling hills, and naval shipyard. It was a decent place to raise a family. Walter, the seventh of 8 children, was born to Dan Lee and Mamie Vivian Hawkins. This tight-knit family lived in one of the poorest sections of East Oakland. The struggling parents felt the secular pull of the streets were always in competition with the spiritual life they had in mind for the family. It was the foundation of the church, instilled in the children at an early age, that would ultimately be the strength and salvation for the entire Hawkins family.
There were 8 children born to the family. We were quite poor growing up. I hear people tell the story sometimes. They say, we didn't realize how poor we were. I knew how poor I was. As a child, I never had anything brand new. We were just too many children. We lived in the projects. My mom and dad, we always had something to eat. If we didn't, we'd go to her sister's home. Her sister had 12 children. So we'd eat beans and rice and cornbread with them. When they ran out of food, they'd come over and eat with us. So often we shared that way. But it made me very, very grateful for what God has blessed me with today.
A patient father and a deeply religious mother were strong parental influences in developing character in the Hawkins children. But there was a rich Southern heritage of musical talent on both sides of the family.
Both my parents come from the South. My mother from Texas, my father from Louisiana. My mother's brother, who was a professional jazz musician, and he would often come to the house and rehearse there, so we heard a lot of jazz. My aunt, my mother's younger sister, lived with us while she was in college. We heard a lot of pop music. Growing up in our home, where my father was not a Christian, my mother was. We kind of saw both sides of life.
I am the youngest sibling of the Hawkins family, and there's a 5-year difference between Walter and I. And so when I came along, they were well on the way in performing and singing. And, I was anxiously awaiting the time to be able to go and sing with them, travel with them.
When I was growing up, I always envisioned myself doing music. My mother had we bought this brand new console, and we would play all of James Cleveland, Caravans, the Ward Singers, and all of those folks. And I would envision myself being on stage singing with all these folks.
They used to tell him that he could not sing. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't there, so I don't know, I can't. But that's what my other siblings say. They say he couldn't really hold a tune. I'm like, wow.
In the late 60s, around 68 or so, our little community choir here at home did a song, Oh Happy Day, and that song, of course, took off.
Oh Happy Day became the most enduring gospel song of all time.
That initial recording was done on a 2-track machine at our church, which was the Ephesian Church of God in Christ. They started to play it, and it was a hit on the rock station in San Francisco, and then hit in New York and kind of merged across country.
I thought that it would probably end with that was my brother's song, and things would probably end with that song dying. But here we are, some 40 years later still. This dream I had as a kid actually came true.
Recorded in 1968, Oh Happy Day reached number 2 on the R&B charts and number 4 on the Billboard pop charts. More than 7 million records were sold. Truly an amazing achievement for a gospel group. Walter's contributions to the success of this song is immeasurable. and it later would be the catalyst that catapulted his career to the next level.